We're going to talk about inline reels versus spinning reels as far as using them for panfish. What are the advantages? What are the pros and cons of each? And I tell you what, there's probably, in my opinion, there's a little bit of misinformation floating around in the sense that you look at inline reels, which I use this reel a lot. This is just a Spooler Elite. I use this reel a lot, but there's a lot of stuff floating around that says, oh, you'll never get line twist on a Spooler reel. Use a Spooler reel because you'll never get line twist. That's not entirely true, okay? And so when you look at reels, think of it as a line management system in the sense that spinning reels do work up more twist because when you pull out line on the drag and you reel against it, you're gonna work up twist in the line, which that doesn't happen on a Spooler reel. But when you're fishing for bluegills, especially, you're fishing for panfish, and you're working that jig fairly aggressively as far as just a hard pound, you are going to work up twist on both reels, okay? And so what are the pros, what are the advantages of a spinning reel? I like to use a spinning reel a lot. Whenever I'm using smaller lures, more, stuff that's on the bigger size of the lure spectrum for panfish, whether it's like a Tikka flash or whether it's a pinhead spoon, some type of a small glide bait, I like to use spinning reels more, okay? And I feel like spinning reels overall have a lot better drag, and you can also get back down to the fish quicker. And so that's probably an advantage not to be understated, and so especially if you're in deeper water, getting up and down fast when you have those fish below you is a big advantage in itself, okay? Now, when do I like to use a spooler reel? Basically, whenever I have to have a more of a finesse presentation, if I'm using the really small horizontal jigs or the small teardrop style jigs, if I'm fishing in shallower water, or another example would be whenever I have to really slow down and stop the lure where less is more, where I just have to hang that jig and not do much with it. I find that a spooler reel is going to give you a little bit more of an advantage. Now it does take a little bit longer to get down in the sense that you're pulling out line, okay, to get down to the fish, but sometimes slowing down to get down to the fish can be an advantage in itself, okay? And so those are a couple of scenarios when I use either or, but the thing to remember is that when you put new line on a spinning reel, you shouldn't have much twist in it if you put the line on correctly, okay? And you're gonna be able to fish well with a spinning reel without a lot of line twist for a certain amount of time. Same thing with a spooler reel, okay? But the difference is that a spinning reel is going to give you twist in the line maybe 3-4 days after you put it on. If you use it hard, 3 to 4 days of fishing, you start to notice some twist in a spinning reel, whereas you might get 5, 6, 7 days out of a spooler reel before you start to see some of that same line twist. And so basically think of it as line management in the sense that you have to change your line more often with a spinning reel, but at the end of the day you should still be changing your line often regardless of what type of reel you're using, because the biggest thing you can do to catch more fish is just have good line that hangs straight, a jig that hangs straight, that doesn't turn fast. Those are the things that are going to help you catch a lot more fish, okay? At the end of the day, I'd rather have brand new line and just a cheap $20 fishing rod on a plastic reel than have the most expensive setup in the world. But if I have line that I've been using for say 20, 30 days and the line's twisted up, it's wrapping on my rod tip, the jig's spinning like this whenever I stop it, I'm not going to catch nearly as many fish. And so line is everything. And so also remember that there's a time and place for both. Both reels complement each other. I would encourage you to have both reels in your rod case, okay? A lot of times I'll start off with a spinning reel just because I can get up and down quicker. But if I'm in shallow water, if I'm starting to use some really small jigs, say it's a small horizontal jig, small teardrops, if I'm in shallow water, if I'm in any type of a bite where I just have to let that lure hang, I switch over to the spooler reel pretty quickly. And so both reels have their place. Understand the advantages and disadvantages of both reels and try to match up the right reel for the situation that's in front of you.